Man, you're obsessed with Vanessa Cole, Marcus Reed said while fixing his tie in my apartment. I swear you talk about Vanessa Cole more than you talk about work. I laughed and adjusted my jacket. Because Vanessa Cole matters more than work. Marcus Reed shook his head. That's dangerous. Loyalty is dangerous now. No, Marcus Reed replied. Blind loyalty is. Before I could answer, my younger sister Lily Carter walked into the room carrying 2 coffee cups. Marcus Reed is right, Lily Carter said. Vanessa Cole barely smiles around you anymore. I sighed. Not this again. I'm serious, Lily Carter continued. Last week at dinner, Vanessa Cole spent half the night texting someone else. Probably work. Lily Carter crossed her arms. You always defend Vanessa Cole. Because I love Vanessa Cole. The room became quiet for a second. Marcus Reed looked at me carefully. You really plan to marry Vanessa Cole tonight? I touched the small ring box hidden inside my pocket. Yeah, after the company party. Lily Carter frowned. I just don't want you getting hurt. I forced a smile. Vanessa Cole and I survived 5 years together. Nothing's going to ruin that. An hour later, I walked into the celebration party at the Grand Monarch Hotel. Music filled the ballroom while executives laughed beside expensive glasses of champagne. The entire event celebrated my company closing a huge deal before Adrian Pierce could steal it. Marcus Reed handed me a drink. Relax. You look nervous. I'm about to propose. You look like you're about to faint. I laughed softly and scanned the room for Vanessa Cole. Instead, Adrian Pierce approached me first. Adrian Pierce smiled like always. Calm, rich, arrogant. Congratulations, Adrian Pierce said. Looks like your company finally beat mine. Finally, I asked. Adrian Pierce chuckled. Don't get too confident. Marcus Reed muttered under his breath. I hate that guy. I agreed silently. Adrian Pierce suddenly glanced behind me. Speaking of valuable things, I think Vanessa Cole was looking for me earlier. My chest tightened slightly. Why would Vanessa Cole look for you? Adrian Pierce smirked. Who knows? Before I could respond, Adrian Pierce walked away. Marcus Reed frowned. That sounded weird. Forget it, I said quickly. I'm probably overthinking. Still, something felt wrong. I searched the ballroom again, but couldn't find Vanessa Cole anywhere. After several minutes, I pulled out my phone and called Vanessa Cole. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. Maybe Vanessa Cole stepped outside, Marcus Reed suggested. Yeah, I replied quietly. But deep down, anxiety started crawling through me. I walked through the hallway near the private offices upstairs. Most doors remained closed, but one office door stayed slightly open. Then I heard laughter. Vanessa Cole's laughter. I stopped walking immediately. Adrian Pierce spoke next. Does your boyfriend seriously think you love him? Vanessa Cole laughed again. Of course. Daniel Carter is predictable. My entire body froze. Adrian Pierce lowered his voice. What happens when Daniel Carter proposes tonight? Maybe I'll say yes, Vanessa Cole replied casually. Why not? Daniel Carter is stable. But Adrian Pierce offers a better future. Then I heard kissing. For a second, I honestly couldn't breathe. I slowly looked through the small opening in the door. Vanessa Cole stood against Adrian Pierce, while Adrian Pierce kissed Vanessa Cole, like nothing in the world mattered except them. The ring box inside my pocket suddenly felt heavy enough to crush my hand. Adrian Pierce touched Vanessa Cole's face. You're playing a risky game. Vanessa Cole smiled. Daniel Carter would forgive anything. That sentence destroyed me more than the cheating itself. Not because Vanessa Cole betrayed me. Because Vanessa Cole believed my love made me weak. I stepped backward quietly before either of them noticed me. My legs barely worked while I walked through the hallway. Everything around me sounded distant. Music, laughter, glasses clinking. None of it felt real anymore. Marcus Reed spotted me near the elevator. Hey, where's Vanessa Cole? I stared at the floor. Marcus Reed's expression changed instantly. What happened? I need to leave. Daniel Carter. I said I need to leave. Marcus Reed grabbed my shoulder. Did someone say something? I finally looked up. Vanessa Cole is with Adrian Pierce. Marcus Reed went silent. Then Marcus Reed whispered, oh no. I pressed the elevator button repeatedly. I'm going home. Marcus Reed looked furious. I'll kill Adrian Pierce. No, I swallowed hard. Just let me go. Rain slammed against my windshield while I drove through the city. My vision blurred because I couldn't stop thinking about Vanessa Cole laughing inside that office. Predictable. Weak. Easy to fool. Every word kept replaying inside my head. Suddenly, headlights flashed directly toward me. I slammed the brakes hard. My car stopped inches away from another vehicle. Damn it. I stepped outside into the rain, breathing heavily. The other driver opened her door carefully. A woman with dark hair and sharp eyes stared at me calmly. You almost destroyed both cars, the woman said. Sorry, I muttered. My mind's messed up right now. The woman studied my face for a moment. Daniel Carter, right? I blinked. You know me? Evelyn Hart. I recognized the name immediately. Vanessa Cole hated Evelyn Hart for years. You're Evelyn Hart, I said slowly. And you look terrible, Evelyn Hart replied honestly. I laughed bitterly. Rough night. Evelyn Hart crossed her arms. Want advice? Not really. Good, Evelyn Hart said. Because most advice is useless after betrayal. I stared at Evelyn Hart carefully. How did you know? Evelyn Hart gave me a sad smile. Because heartbreak always gives people the same eyes. For the first time all night, somebody understood me. 20 minutes later, I sat alone inside my apartment. The engagement ring rested on my kitchen table. I kept staring at it while silence filled the room. 5 years of love suddenly felt fake. And for the first time in my life, I honestly had no idea what came next. My future died inside me tonight. My phone kept vibrating across the kitchen table. Vanessa Cole. Again. I stared at the screen until the call disappeared. 10 seconds later, another call came immediately. I finally threw the phone onto the couch. For 3 straight days, Vanessa Cole kept calling, texting, and leaving voice messages. Daniel Carter, please talk to me. Daniel Carter, it isn't what it looked like. Daniel Carter, I love you. Every message felt insulting now. I sat in silence, holding a cold cup of coffee, when somebody knocked loudly on my apartment door. I already knew who it was. I opened the door slowly. Vanessa Cole walked inside before I could speak. Vanessa Cole looked exhausted. You've been ignoring me for days. I closed the door quietly. Maybe there's a reason. Vanessa Cole sighed dramatically. Daniel Carter, can we stop acting like the world ended? I stared at Vanessa Cole in disbelief. You cheated on me with Adrian Pierce. It was one kiss. One kiss. Vanessa Cole rubbed her forehead. We were drunk. You laughed about me. Vanessa Cole looked away for half a second. Daniel Carter, Adrian Pierce means nothing to me. Then why were you in Adrian Pierce's arms? Vanessa Cole stepped closer. Because I was stupid. I hated myself because part of me still wanted to believe Vanessa Cole. 5 years together doesn't disappear instantly. Vanessa Cole touched my hand carefully. Daniel Carter, look at me. I did. Vanessa Cole's eyes filled with tears instantly. I love you. Before I could respond, Lily Carter suddenly entered the apartment carrying grocery bags. Lily Carter froze immediately after seeing Vanessa Cole. Oh, hell no. Vanessa Cole sighed loudly. Not now, Lily Carter. Lily Carter dropped the bags onto the kitchen counter. Daniel Carter, why is Vanessa Cole here? We're talking. I answered quietly. Lily Carter looked furious. Talking? After Vanessa Cole cheated? Vanessa Cole crossed her arms. It wasn't serious. Lily Carter laughed coldly. That's your excuse? Vanessa Cole snapped back instantly. Stay out of my relationship. My brother cried for 3 nights because of you. The apartment became silent. Vanessa Cole looked shocked for a second. Lily Carter pointed directly at Vanessa Cole. You don't get to walk in here pretending nothing happened. Vanessa Cole turned toward me desperately. Daniel Carter, are you really letting Lily Carter control this? No, Lily Carter answered before I could speak. I'm forcing Daniel Carter to stop being blind. Vanessa Cole's expression hardened. You always hated me. Because I saw the truth first. I finally spoke. Enough. Both women looked at me. I took a slow breath. Vanessa Cole, I need space. Vanessa Cole stepped closer again. Daniel Carter, please. I said I need space. Vanessa Cole stared at me for several seconds before grabbing a purse angrily. Fine, Vanessa Cole muttered. But don't throw away 5 years over one mistake. The door slammed behind Vanessa Cole. Lily Carter looked at me carefully. You almost forgave Vanessa Cole. I sat down heavily. Maybe I wanted an excuse to stay. That's not love anymore, Lily Carter said softly. That's fear. Later that night, Marcus Reed arrived carrying takeout food and beer. Marcus Reed handed me a drink. You look terrible. Thanks. Marcus Reed sat beside me quietly for a minute. Then Marcus Reed sighed deeply. There's something I need to tell you. My stomach tightened immediately. What? Marcus Reed avoided eye contact. I didn't know how serious it was until recently. I slowly lowered my drink. Marcus Reed. Marcus Reed looked guilty. I saw Vanessa Cole with Adrian Pierce before the party. Everything inside me went cold again. How long? Marcus Reed hesitated. How long? I repeated louder. 3 months. The room started spinning. You knew. I suspected. Marcus Reed admitted quickly. I kept hoping I was wrong. I stood up angrily. 3 months. Marcus Reed grabbed my arm. Daniel Carter, listen to me. No, you listen. I defended Vanessa Cole to everyone. Marcus Reed looked miserable. I know. I pulled away. Did Sophia Lane know too? Marcus Reed nodded slowly. Sophia Lane covered for Vanessa Cole several times. I laughed bitterly. Everybody knew except me. I suddenly understood why people looked uncomfortable whenever I mentioned Vanessa Cole recently. I wasn't a boyfriend. I was the joke. 2 days later, I forced myself to attend a business networking event downtown. Marcus Reed insisted staying home would destroy me mentally. The ballroom buzzed with conversations, but I barely paid attention. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me. Daniel Carter. I turned around and saw Evelyn Hart holding a glass of wine. Evelyn Hart smirked slightly. You look less suicidal tonight. I laughed despite myself. That's improvement. Evelyn Hart studied my face carefully. Still hurting? Yeah. Evelyn Hart nodded once. Honest answer. Rare quality. I leaned against the table beside Evelyn Hart. Vanessa Cole always said Evelyn Hart was arrogant. And Vanessa Cole always said Evelyn Hart was jealous. Evelyn Hart replied calmly. Funny world. What actually happened between you two? Evelyn Hart smiled faintly. College politics. That sounds vague. It's supposed to. I raised an eyebrow. Come on. Evelyn Hart sighed dramatically. Vanessa Cole built a fake perfect image in college. Sweet girl. Honest girl. Innocent girl. And I exposed Vanessa Cole for cheating during a student election. I blinked. Seriously? Evelyn Hart shrugged. Vanessa Cole forged charity records and blamed another student. I leaked proof. That destroyed Vanessa Cole's reputation. For a while, I stared at Evelyn Hart carefully. You really don't care what people think about you. People usually disappoint me anyway. Something about Evelyn Hart felt refreshing. No fake sweetness. No manipulation. Just honesty. Then another man approached us. Evelyn Hart, are you causing trouble again? Evelyn Hart rolled her eyes. Daniel Hart, mind your business. The man laughed before shaking my hand. Daniel Hart, older brother. Daniel Carter. Daniel Hart looked between us curiously. Interesting combination. Relax. Evelyn Hart said dryly. Daniel Carter already survived one terrible relationship. Daniel Hart smirked immediately. Vanessa Cole? I nearly choked on my drink. Everybody knows. Adrian Pierce isn't exactly discreet, Daniel Hart replied. Evelyn Hart suddenly laughed softly. Adrian Pierce actually asked me out once. I blinked. Seriously? Twice. Evelyn Hart corrected. What happened? I rejected Adrian Pierce both times. I couldn't help smiling. That explains why Adrian Pierce always looks irritated around Evelyn Hart. Fragile ego, Evelyn Hart replied casually. For the first time in days, I actually felt lighter. Evelyn Hart raised a glass toward me. You know something important, Daniel Carter? What? The best revenge is living well. I stared at Evelyn Hart for a moment. Then, slowly, something inside me finally started waking up again. Vanessa Cole started showing up everywhere after the business event with Evelyn Hart. Outside my office, near my apartment, at my favorite coffee shop. Every time I saw Vanessa Cole, Desperation filled Vanessa Cole's eyes instead of confidence. One afternoon, Vanessa Cole blocked my path outside the company parking garage. "Daniel Carter, why are you avoiding me?" I kept walking. "Because I finally learned something." Vanessa Cole grabbed my arm. "You're spending time with Evelyn Hart now? That's none of your business." Vanessa Cole's expression darkened immediately. "Evelyn Hart is manipulating you." I laughed bitterly. "That's ironic." "Daniel Carter, listen to me." "No, you listen this time." I looked directly at Vanessa Cole. "You lost the right to question anybody around me." Vanessa Cole's eyes filled with anger. "You're trying to punish me." "I'm trying to move on." Vanessa Cole lowered a voice suddenly. "Adrian Pierce barely even talks to me anymore." That sentence surprised me. Then I realized something painful. Vanessa Cole expected Adrian Pierce to choose Vanessa Cole publicly after the affair exploded. Instead, Adrian Pierce disappeared. I shook my head slowly. "That sounds like your problem now." Vanessa Cole looked shocked after hearing the coldness in my voice. For years, I would have comforted Vanessa Cole instantly. Now I felt exhausted instead. Later that evening, I met Evelyn Hart at a small restaurant near downtown for a business discussion involving a joint investment project. Evelyn Hart sat across from me, reading documents calmly. "You're distracted," Evelyn Hart said without looking up. "Long week." "Vanessa Cole again?" I sighed. Vanessa Cole keeps acting possessive now that I stopped caring. Evelyn Hart smirked faintly. "People hate losing control." I studied Evelyn Hart quietly for a second. "What? You always sound calm." "Not always. It feels like nothing affects you." Evelyn Hart finally looked up from the papers. "That's because people confuse calmness with emptiness." I leaned back in my chair. "What does that mean?" "It means I learned very early that trusting fake people only creates disappointment." I nodded slowly. "That sounds familiar." Evelyn Hart laughed softly. "That's why we get along." The waitress brought our food, while silence settled briefly between us. Then I asked quietly, "Does it bother Evelyn Hart when people call Evelyn Hart cold?" "Sometimes." The honest answer surprised me. Evelyn Hart stirred a drink slowly. "Most people don't want honesty. Most people want performance." I smiled slightly. Vanessa Cole was good at performance. Exactly. I looked out the restaurant window. I spent years loving a version of Vanessa Cole that never existed. And now, I don't know who I am without that relationship. Evelyn Hart watched me carefully. Maybe that's not a bad thing. For the next several weeks, Evelyn Hart became the easiest person in my life to talk to. No games. No fake emotions. Just honesty. Sometimes Evelyn Hart called late at night to complain about work stress. Sometimes I vented about old memories involving Vanessa Cole. The connection felt natural instead of forced. Marcus Reed noticed it immediately. "You smile more around Evelyn Hart." Marcus Reed said one afternoon. "Do not start. I'm serious." "It's not like that." Marcus Reed grinned. "Sure." A few days later, I attended a charity dinner hosted by Richard Cole, Vanessa Cole's wealthy father. I honestly wanted to avoid the event, but business obligations forced me there. The ballroom looked elegant and crowded. Then I saw Evelyn Hart near the entrance wearing a black dress that instantly drew attention across the room. Several people whispered immediately. Vanessa Cole noticed too, and Vanessa Cole looked furious. I walked toward Evelyn Hart. Didn't expect to see Evelyn Hart here. "Richard Cole invited my company," Evelyn Hart replied calmly. Before I could answer, Vanessa Cole suddenly approached us holding a champagne glass tightly. Of course Evelyn Hart would appear here. Evelyn Hart raised an eyebrow. "Hello to you too." Vanessa Cole ignored Evelyn Hart completely and turned toward me. "Daniel Carter, can we talk privately?" "No." Vanessa Cole looked hurt. "Seriously?" "Yes." Vanessa Cole's eyes shifted toward Evelyn Hart instantly. "This is unbelievable." Evelyn Hart crossed arms calmly. "What exactly is unbelievable?" "You stealing my boyfriend." The nearby conversations quieted immediately. I felt embarrassment crawl through me. Evelyn Hart stayed perfectly calm. "Daniel Carter stopped belonging to Vanessa Cole the moment Vanessa Cole cheated." Vanessa Cole stepped closer aggressively. "Evelyn Hart always wanted attention, and Vanessa Cole always wanted control." Vanessa Cole laughed angrily. People warned Daniel Carter about Evelyn Hart for years. Evelyn Hart tilted a head slightly. People warned Daniel Carter about Vanessa Cole too. Vanessa Cole's face turned red instantly. You think you're better than me? No, Evelyn Hart replied softly. I think I'm honest. The tension became unbearable. Then Evelyn Hart continued, speaking calmly. Should I mention the student election scandal again? Vanessa Cole froze. Or the fake charity donations? Stop talking. Or maybe Adrian Pierce? Vanessa Cole slammed a glass onto the table. Shut up. Every person nearby stared openly now. Richard Cole suddenly appeared, looking furious. Vanessa Cole, enough. Vanessa Cole looked humiliated. Dad, not here. Vanessa Cole glared at Evelyn Hart with pure hatred before storming away. The ballroom slowly returned to normal afterward. I exhaled heavily. That was insane. Evelyn Hart sipped wine calmly. Vanessa Cole creates drama naturally. Later that night, I drove Evelyn Hart home. Rain hit the windshield softly while silence filled the car. Then Evelyn Hart suddenly said, "Marry me." I almost swerved the car. What? Evelyn Hart laughed for the first time all night. Relax. I'm serious. What? Evelyn Hart looked out the window quietly. Think about it logically. I don't understand. We're both tired of public opinions controlling our lives. I stared at Evelyn Hart. This is revenge. Partly. And the other part? Evelyn Hart shrugged slightly. Business benefits. Social stability. Less pressure from everyone around us. I couldn't believe this conversation was real. You can't seriously expect me to agree. Evelyn Hart looked at me calmly. Daniel Carter, when was the last time life gave you something predictable? I started laughing unexpectedly. Not because the idea sounded stupid, because part of me actually understood it. Evelyn Hart smiled faintly. Exactly. 3 days later, every major business newspaper carried the same headline. Daniel Carter engaged to Evelyn Hart. My phone exploded instantly. Marcus Reed screamed excitedly. Lily Carter nearly fainted. And Vanessa Cole called me 27 times before midnight. The engagement announcement changed my life overnight. People who ignored me before suddenly wanted conversations. Business partners treated me differently. Reporters kept asking questions. And Vanessa Cole completely lost control. My phone rang constantly during the first week after the announcement. Most calls came from Vanessa Cole. I ignored every single one. One evening, I walked into my apartment and found Evelyn Hart standing near the kitchen holding 2 coffee mugs. Evelyn Hart looked uncomfortable. This still feels strange. I laughed softly. Living together after a fake engagement? Yes. I took the coffee carefully. Honestly, I expected more arguing. Give it time. For a few seconds, silence filled the apartment. Not awkward silence. Careful silence. 2 damaged people trying to understand each other. Evelyn Hart finally sat across from me. Vanessa Cole showed up at my office today. I nearly dropped the mug. What? She accused me of ruining a relationship. I rubbed my forehead tiredly. I'm sorry. Evelyn Hart shrugged calmly. I survived worse. What exactly did Vanessa Cole say? Evelyn Hart smirked faintly. Mostly dramatic nonsense. You sighed deeply. Vanessa Cole keeps acting like this happened to Vanessa Cole instead of me. People like Vanessa Cole hate consequences. That sentence stayed inside my head for hours. Over the next month, living with Evelyn Hart slowly became natural. Evelyn Hart always woke up early. Evelyn Hart preferred silence during breakfast. Evelyn Hart secretly loved terrible action movies, but denied it constantly. One Saturday morning, Lily Carter visited the apartment carrying college brochures. Lily Carter looked nervous immediately. Am I interrupting? No. Evelyn Hart answered before I could speak. Sit down. Lily Carter hesitated. Actually, I needed advice. Evelyn Hart raised an eyebrow. About scholarships. I expected Evelyn Hart to give a quick answer and leave the conversation. Instead, Evelyn Hart spent almost 2 hours reviewing applications with Lily Carter. You're applying too narrowly, Evelyn Hart explained calmly. Expand options. Lily Carter blinked. Evelyn Hart understands financial aid systems? Understand survival. Later that night, Lily Carter pulled me aside privately. I was wrong about Evelyn Hart. I smiled slightly. I know. She actually listens. That simple sentence affected me more than expected. A week later, Marcus Reed showed up looking stressed. Marcus Reed collapsed onto my couch dramatically. My life is over. Evelyn Hart glanced up from a laptop. That sounds expensive. Marcus Reed groaned loudly. An investment failed. How bad? Very bad. I sat beside Marcus Reed. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Because I'm embarrassed. Evelyn Hart closed the laptop slowly. How much? Marcus Reed named the number quietly. Even I looked shocked. Marcus Reed rubbed a face tiredly. I'll recover eventually. Evelyn Hart stood up without saying anything and walked toward the office room. Marcus Reed blinked. Did I offend Evelyn Hart? No idea. 5 minutes later, Evelyn Hart returned holding paperwork. Evelyn Hart placed the papers onto the table calmly. Short-term loan agreement. Marcus Reed stared in disbelief. What? Take it. Marcus Reed looked completely stunned. Evelyn Hart, this amount is insane. You'll pay it back eventually. Marcus Reed shook a head repeatedly. Why would Evelyn Hart help me? Evelyn Hart shrugged lightly. Because real friends matter. Marcus Reed almost looked emotional afterward. That moment changed something inside me. Evelyn Hart never helped people for attention. Evelyn Hart simply cared quietly. Meanwhile, Vanessa Cole's life started collapsing publicly. News broke about corruption investigations connected to Adrian Pierce's company. Almost immediately, Adrian Pierce started distancing from Vanessa Cole completely. Then another scandal exploded online. Private messages, photos, rumors. Sophia Lane leaked information exposing Vanessa Cole's affair timeline to protect personal reputation. Vanessa Cole became social poison overnight. 3 days later, Richard Cole appeared outside my office unexpectedly. Richard Cole looked exhausted and angry. I need to apologize. I stared carefully. For what? For not seeing Vanessa Cole clearly sooner. That shocked me. Richard Cole sighed heavily. I cut Vanessa Cole off financially yesterday. I frowned slightly. Seriously? Vanessa Cole embarrassed the entire family. Part of me almost felt bad. Almost. Richard Cole looked toward the street quietly. Vanessa Cole doesn't understand consequences yet. Vanessa Cole will. I hope so. That same night, Vanessa Cole waited outside my apartment building in the rain. I noticed Vanessa Cole immediately while parking my car. Vanessa Cole looked thinner, tired, broken. When I stepped outside, Vanessa Cole walked toward me quickly. Daniel Carter, please talk to me. I stayed silent. Vanessa Cole's eyes filled with tears instantly. Everything is falling apart. I looked away briefly. I know. Adrian Pierce stopped answering calls. I said nothing. Richard Cole cut me off. Still nothing. Vanessa Cole stepped closer desperately. Sophia Lane betrayed me too. I finally looked directly at Vanessa Cole. Now Vanessa Cole understands betrayal. That sentence visibly hurt Vanessa Cole. Daniel Carter, I made mistakes. Mistakes? Yes. I laughed quietly. Cheating for months isn't a mistake. Vanessa Cole grabbed my hand suddenly. I still love you. I gently pulled away. For the first time, I didn't feel anger while looking at Vanessa Cole. Just sadness. Vanessa Cole started crying openly. Why do you seem happier without me? The question stayed between us for several seconds. Then I answered honestly. Because Vanessa Cole destroyed the version of me that loved blindly. Vanessa Cole froze completely. I continued quietly. I spent years trying to become enough for Vanessa Cole. That's not true. It is. Rain soaked both of us while silence filled the street. Finally, Vanessa Cole whispered, "Do you love Evelyn Hart?" I thought about the question carefully. Then I answered softly, "I trust Evelyn Hart." Vanessa Cole closed eyes painfully after hearing that. Because trust mattered more than love now. I walked toward the apartment entrance slowly. Behind me, Vanessa Cole's crying became louder. When I entered the apartment, Evelyn Hart stood near the window silently. Evelyn Hart didn't ask questions. Evelyn Hart simply walked closer and held my hand gently. Outside, Vanessa Cole broke down completely alone in the rain. Inside, for the first time in months, I no longer felt empty. Living with Evelyn Hart stopped feeling temporary without me realizing it. One night, I came home late after work and found Evelyn Hart asleep on the couch with papers scattered across the coffee table. For several seconds, I simply stood there watching quietly. Evelyn Hart looked peaceful while sleeping. Soft, unprotected, completely different from the guarded woman most people feared. I carefully picked up a blanket and covered Evelyn Hart gently. Daniel Carter? I froze immediately. Evelyn Hart blinked slowly. What time is it? Almost midnight. Evelyn Hart sat up quickly. I didn't mean to fall asleep. You've been overworking. So have you. I sat beside Evelyn Hart quietly. You don't have to carry everything alone. That sentence changed Evelyn Hart's expression instantly. For a second, real sadness appeared there. Then Evelyn Hart looked away. I'm used to it. I studied Evelyn Hart carefully. Who taught Evelyn Hart that? Silence. Then Evelyn Hart laughed softly, without humor. A man named Christopher Vale. I frowned slightly. Ex-boyfriend. Former fiancé. That surprised me. Evelyn Hart leaned back against the couch slowly. Christopher Vale cheated with my closest friend 3 months before our wedding. I stayed silent. Christopher Vale called me emotionally distant afterward. Evelyn Hart smiled bitterly. Funny excuse. Did Christopher Vale ever apologize? Eventually, and I stopped caring. Something painful tightened inside my chest. Not because of jealousy, because I finally understood why Evelyn Hart built emotional walls so carefully. Evelyn Hart noticed my expression immediately. Don't pity me. I don't. What then? I understand you better now. For once, Evelyn Hart didn't respond with sarcasm. The next afternoon, Daniel Hart unexpectedly invited me to lunch. The moment I sat down, Daniel Hart pointed directly at me. Don't hurt Evelyn Hart. I blinked. Straight to the point. I'm serious. I sighed quietly. Daniel Hart. I would never intentionally hurt Evelyn Hart. Daniel Hart studied me carefully. Christopher Vale destroyed Evelyn Hart emotionally for years. I know. No. Daniel Hart corrected. You know part of it. I stayed silent. Daniel Hart rubbed a forehead tiredly. After the engagement collapsed, Evelyn Hart stopped trusting anybody. That explains a lot. Evelyn Hart acts strong constantly because weakness became dangerous. I looked down at the table quietly. Then I admitted something I hadn't fully accepted until that moment. This stopped being revenge a while ago. Daniel Hart raised an eyebrow. Meaning, I actually love Evelyn Hart. The word shocked even me. Not because they felt wrong, because they felt completely true. Daniel Hart leaned back slowly. Good. That's it. If Daniel Carter hurts Evelyn Hart, I'll break every bone inside Daniel Carter's body. Daniel Hart smiled casually. But otherwise, welcome to the family. I laughed unexpectedly. Meanwhile, Adrian Pierce's empire started collapsing publicly. Every news channel discussed investigations involving bribery, corruption, and illegal contracts. One evening, Olivia Pierce requested a private meeting with me. I arrived cautiously at a quiet restaurant downtown. Olivia Pierce looked exhausted already. Thank you for coming, Olivia Pierce said softly. What's this about? Olivia Pierce stared down at a coffee cup. Adrian Pierce. I waited quietly. Adrian Pierce manipulated people for years. That doesn't surprise me. Olivia Pierce sighed heavily. Including Vanessa Cole. I frowned slightly. Olivia Pierce continued carefully. Adrian Pierce targeted ambitious women constantly. Attention, gifts, promises. And Vanessa Cole believed Adrian Pierce cared? Yes. I leaned back slowly. Part of me hated hearing it. Another part expected it completely. Olivia Pierce rubbed tired eyes. Adrian Pierce used relationships like business deals. That sounds accurate. Vanessa Cole wasn't special to Adrian Pierce. I left the meeting feeling strangely empty. Not satisfied. Not angry. Just tired. 3 days later, Vanessa Cole appeared outside my office for the final time. Vanessa Cole looked completely different now. No designer confidence. No arrogance. Just exhaustion. Can we talk? I nodded quietly. We walked to a nearby park bench in silence. Vanessa Cole stared at the ground for several seconds before speaking. Adrian Pierce never loved me. I answered honestly. I know. Vanessa Cole laughed bitterly. Sophia Lane told me Adrian Pierce was seeing other women the entire time. I stayed silent. Vanessa Cole looked toward me carefully. Why aren't you angry anymore? Because anger requires emotional energy. And Vanessa Cole no longer owned any part of me. Instead, I simply said, I already survived the worst part. Vanessa Cole's eyes filled slowly with tears. I ruined everything. Yes. No point lying anymore. Vanessa Cole nodded weakly. I deserve that. The honesty surprised me. Vanessa Cole took a shaky breath. Do you know why I hated Evelyn Hart so much? Why? Because Evelyn Hart represented everything I pretended to be. I frowned slightly. Vanessa Cole laughed quietly through tears. Honest. Strong. Respected. I said nothing. Vanessa Cole wiped eyes carefully. I spent years competing with Evelyn Hart because deep down I knew people trusted Evelyn Hart more. That wasn't Evelyn Hart's fault. I know. Silence settled between us gently this time. Not hostile, just final. Vanessa Cole looked at me one last time. Daniel Carter still loves Evelyn Hart, doesn't Daniel Carter? I thought about denying it. Instead, I answered honestly. Yes. Vanessa Cole closed eyes briefly after hearing that. Then Vanessa Cole smiled sadly. Good. I felt something unexpected then. Pity. Not revenge. Not satisfaction. Just pity for somebody who destroyed personal happiness chasing attention and status. Vanessa Cole stood slowly. I really did love Daniel Carter once. I know, but I love myself more. Neither of us spoke afterward. Vanessa Cole simply walked away quietly without looking back. That night, I returned home emotionally exhausted. Evelyn Hart stood inside the kitchen making tea. You look terrible, Evelyn Hart said softly. I need to say something. Evelyn Hart immediately looked nervous. Okay. I walked closer slowly. This marriage stopped being strategic for me a long time ago. Evelyn Hart stared silently. I continued carefully. I love Evelyn Hart. The room became completely still. I'm not saying it because of revenge. Evelyn Hart's eyes started filling with tears instantly. I'm not saying it because I feel lonely. Evelyn Hart covered a mouth shakily. I'm saying it because every day with Evelyn Hart feels honest. For several seconds, Evelyn Hart couldn't speak. Then Evelyn Hart suddenly started crying. Real crying. Painful crying. I was terrified, Evelyn Hart whispered. Of what? That loving somebody again would destroy me. I gently held Evelyn Hart's hands. I'm here. Evelyn Hart laughed weakly through tears. I love Daniel Carter too. Hearing those words healed something broken inside me. And for the first time since Vanessa Cole betrayed me, my heart finally felt alive again. 6 months changed everything. Sometimes I still remember the night I found Vanessa Cole inside Adrian Pierce's office. But the memory no longer destroyed me. Now the memory simply reminded me how far my life had moved forward. One quiet morning, I walked into the kitchen and found Evelyn Hart making breakfast while singing softly under her breath. I leaned against the doorway, smiling. Evelyn Hart sings terribly. Evelyn Hart jumped slightly. Daniel Carter wasn't supposed to hear that. Too late. Evelyn Hart narrowed eyes playfully. Daniel Carter is becoming annoying. That sounds affectionate. Evelyn Hart laughed softly before handing me coffee. Small moments like that became my favorite part of life. No games. No pretending. Just peace. Later that afternoon, Marcus Reed dragged me into a newly rented office building downtown. Marcus Reed spread arms dramatically. Welcome to the future headquarters. I looked around the small empty office. This place barely has furniture. Details. I laughed, still proud of Marcus Reed. Marcus Reed grinned immediately. Honestly, none of this happens without Evelyn Hart helping financially. That loan saved Marcus Reed. Marcus Reed became serious for a second. No, trust saved me. That sentence stayed with me afterward. For years, I confused love with loyalty. Now I understood trust mattered more. The next weekend, Lily Carter graduated from college. I nearly lost hearing because Lily Carter screamed after spotting me and Evelyn Hart in the crowd. Lily Carter ran toward us excitedly. I actually survived. You complained every semester, I reminded Lily Carter. Because education is evil. Evelyn Hart rolled eyes. Dramatic. Lily Carter suddenly hugged Evelyn Hart tightly. Thank you. Evelyn Hart looked confused. For what? For believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. I watched Evelyn Hart's expression soften instantly. Moments like that constantly reminded me who Evelyn Hart truly was beneath the guarded personality. Quietly kind, quietly loyal, quietly loving. Meanwhile, Adrian Pierce's downfall became national news. Every major company connected to Adrian Pierce started cutting ties immediately after official corruption evidence became public. One evening, Marcus Reed called me laughing uncontrollably. Daniel Carter needs television right now. I turned on the news and immediately saw Adrian Pierce surrounded by reporters outside a courthouse. Adrian Pierce looked furious and exhausted. A reporter shouted, "Did Adrian Pierce manipulate company contracts?" Another yelled, "How many fraud investigations currently exist?" Marcus Reed laughed harder through the phone. Karma moves beautifully sometimes. I stared silently at the television. Months ago, watching Adrian Pierce collapse would have satisfied me deeply. Now I mostly felt relieved everything finally ended. A few weeks later, Olivia Pierce invited me and Evelyn Hart to dinner. Olivia Pierce sighed heavily while sitting across from us. Adrian Pierce lost almost everything. Evelyn Hart stayed calm. Consequences eventually arrive. Olivia Pierce nodded sadly. I warned Adrian Pierce for years. I asked carefully, "Any chance Adrian Pierce recovers?" Olivia Pierce laughed weakly. Not publicly. The conversation shifted afterward, but one thing became obvious. Adrian Pierce spent years believing power made actions untouchable. Now Adrian Pierce finally understood otherwise. Around the same time, I heard Vanessa Cole quietly left the city. Sophia Lane mentioned it during a random phone call. Vanessa Cole moved north. Sophia Lane explained awkwardly. I stayed silent. Sophia Lane hesitated. Vanessa Cole wants a fresh start. I hope Vanessa Cole finds one. The answer surprised even me. After the call ended, Evelyn Hart studied my face carefully. No anger? I shook my head slowly. Not anymore. Evelyn Hart moved closer beside me on the couch. That means healing finally happened. Maybe Evelyn Hart was right. I no longer replayed betrayal constantly inside my head. I no longer imagined revenge. Pain changed me, but pain no longer controlled me. One rainy evening, months after everything collapsed and rebuilt itself again, Evelyn Hart and I sat quietly on the apartment balcony watching city lights reflect across wet streets below. Evelyn Hart rested a head against my shoulder gently. Then Evelyn Hart asked softly, "Does Daniel Carter regret any of it?" I looked down carefully. What exactly? Everything. The question lingered between us. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the humiliation, the strange fake engagement that somehow became real love. For several seconds, I simply watched the city silently. Then I turned toward Evelyn Hart. If Vanessa Cole never cheated, Daniel Carter would still be living a lie. Evelyn Hart stayed quiet. I continued honestly. I thought love meant sacrificing everything for somebody. And now I think love means feeling safe enough to become yourself. Evelyn Hart's eyes softened immediately. I smiled faintly. Without all that pain, Daniel Carter never would have met somebody who actually understands Daniel Carter. Evelyn Hart laughed quietly through emotional eyes. That's strangely romantic. I learned from the best. Impossible. Evelyn Hart is terrible at romance. That's another lie. Evelyn Hart gently intertwined fingers with mine. Maybe. The cold wind moved softly around us while the city glowed beneath the dark sky. For the first time in years, my future no longer terrified me. I wasn't chasing approval anymore. I wasn't begging for love anymore. I wasn't trying to become enough for somebody incapable of valuing honesty. Everything painful that happened eventually forced me to grow stronger, wiser, more honest with myself. I looked at Evelyn Hart sitting beside me and realized something simple but life-changing. Real love never made me feel small. Real love never demanded performance. Real love felt peaceful. Evelyn Hart squeezed my hand gently. What? I smiled quietly. Nothing. That sounds suspicious. I'm just happy. Evelyn Hart leaned closer against me again. Good. Together, we watched the city lights shimmer through the rain while the ghosts of our past slowly disappeared behind us. And for the first time in my life, I truly believed the future waiting ahead of me would be built on something real.